3, 2, 1. We are back at it again, Georgie Porgy Grinders.
What episode is this?
This is, I don't know, 8 or 9, somewhere
8
around
or
there.
9. Wow.
So we're getting close to the 10 mark.
We doubled your expectations and more.
No, we quadrupled the expectations already. I said 2. I said we'd do 2 episodes, and then after that we weren't going to do any more.
You have failed. You don't have faith. That was the problem.
You are
no
happy.
Faith.
You are happy today.
I am happy, but
You're a happy boy.
I'm not. I mean, I'm happy, but I'm not really that happy.
Oh, don't.
To be honest, I didn't watch too many of the games.
Yeah.
This weekend because I went to watch the Liverpool game at the Thomas McGee's at the bar, and then they had like split screen for like different games, and then on Sunday went to the girlfriend's parents, so I didn't get too much.
Yeah, I didn't get to watch all of them, but I watched the highlights of all the important ones at least. And I saw the big. Well, let's just start it off with Liverpool. Why not? Because
I mean, why not?
So
9-star performance.
This is the first episode in the last 3 episodes at least where I don't have to ask you the question. Are you worried? Are you panicking yet?
I am not panicking.
What a
for
response.
Anybody asking.
What a response. By the way, those goals were nice too.
The thing is, though, I'm not over. I mean, obviously, I'm happy because to score 9 goals in the Premier League.
What would have made you more happy? How can you say after a 9-0 tying the record for the most goals in a single Premier League match or the biggest deficit?
It's one game. That's what I'm like. I understand the game, the performance, everything from start to finish was amazing. Don't get me wrong. To score 9 goals in the Premier League is.
So you're just telling people to take it easy a little bit.
Yeah, that's it. Like it's just one game against Bournemouth. Like it's not. It's one game. It's one game. We still need to get a midfielder in, and I'm very vocal on Twitter. Liverpool need a midfielder in.
I do want to say that so far, my predictions have been right about the debate, and you can say it's because of the red card.
It is.
But Erling Haaland versus Darwin Nunez.
Yeah.
I told you this would happen.
No.
I didn't say that he would get a red card, but that's not my problem. That's not my fault.
Speaking of a red card, Haaland should have got a red card.
The guy's not experienced. I didn't see what happened with Haaland.
He cleated the guy in the face.
I didn't
By
see
the way, okay, first, let's finish with Liverpool.
Never happened.
Amazing performance, start to finish. Bournemouth didn't, I don't know.
The problem is with a team like Bournemouth versus Liverpool is you're trying to stay in the game at 0-0 for as long as you can. So if you go down in the first 2.5 minutes, it just goes downhill from there because you can no longer do your
Bobby Firmino.
Yeah.
Best in the world.
Why do you even need Darwin Nunez?
No, because it brings something different. But look, everyone played well. It's all the young guys came on. Harvey Elliott scored. He's injured now. So that's
he got injured?
Yeah.
During the game?
At halftime, yeah. So that's how he got taken out at half.
Nice goal, by the way.
Great goal, and then Carvalho scored as well.
But that's his first goal too, right?
Yeah, first goal.
Mini Coutinho.
Salah didn't score at all, so that's pretty impressive.
And he didn't even assist, did he?
No, I don't think so.
Wasn't involved. Well, he was involved in a lot of the build-up plays, though.
Yeah.
He just wasn't the final pass.
What was it? Bobby had
2 goals and an assist, was it?
No, 3. He
didn't score a hat-trick.
He didn't score a hat-trick, but he had 3 or 4 assists. He had 3 assists in the first half.
Facts.
He had 3 assists in the first half.
Maybe that's what it was.
Yeah, he had 3 assists in the first
I've
half.
I've always rated him highly.
Yeah.
You're the one last episode.
Yeah, last episode.
Last episode you said when I asked you about having all their starters on the field and you're like, Firmino,
No.
Maybe not a starter.
Yes, because what did I talk about right before that? The injuries. He came back from injury 2 days before the game and he was out for a while. So you can't just throw a guy in there.
He was out for like a week and a half, 2 weeks max.
Yeah, that Naby Keita.
You can throw a guy in there after that. You can't throw a guy in there after a ACL.
Yeah, but
you can throw a guy in there.
But your club doesn't do that. Naby Keita, he was out for a week.
It's not like the guy forgot or like his fitness is gone after a week and a half because they're still doing rehab and he's basically maintaining his fitness level.
He's maintaining, but it's like you don't.
No.
You don't just
throw.
No, you don't throw. No, you don't throw anybody in like that. So that was my point. If I had to pick, Bobby's my favorite player.
Yeah.
So I would, and we had this debate if he's one of the best, whatever. Bobby's an amazing player. He's completely different to Nunez. So I do think when Nunez does come back, which will be at the weekend against Everton, because we play Newcastle Wednesday.
Did he get a 3-match ban, was it?
Yeah, it was 3 match. So once he does come back, my suggestion was put Bobby as the 10.
Yeah, I saw that on Twitter.
Yeah, and then you have the best of both worlds.
I disagree with that because the whole point of him as a false 9 is he drops in at the right time to get the ball.
Yeah.
If he stays as a 10, they're just going to pick him up. He's going to be marked the whole time.
But the thing is, this is what Liverpool lacked under Nunez. Nunez goes in behind, Salah stays wide, Diaz stays wide, and you have nobody to connect the dots between the midfielders. None of the Milner, Henderson, or Fabinho or whoever played in the one game Nunes played did not have the connection between the attacking players. So all we saw was Trent get the ball and whip it in behind. It doesn't work. So it just, you have to have some sort of a balance to connect the attacking players for Liverpool. And I think Bobby is perfect because he's going to work his ass off like usual, drop in deep. By the way, against Manchester United, they showed the stats. Bobby was playing most of the time as like a 6 or an 8 compared to James Milner, who was making runs in behind, which is crazy. But that's how Liverpool play, which is fine because that's how usually Bobby plays. He drops in. But if you don't have somebody running in behind, then it doesn't do him any good. Like Salah and Diaz, they didn't run in behind.
I don't think you guys need Nunez. That's the thing. I don't think you need him.
I think we need him.
Why do you need him?
Because it gives you something different.
You got Bobby.
You have Bobby, but
you have Bobby.
Look, Bobby drops in, let's say he drops in gets the ball Henderson, plays the ball wide. Then you have Salah, and you have Diaz making the run in. By the time Bobby gets in there, gets in the box, it's too late. So if you have Nunes in there already, just like Haaland, what does Haaland do? He loves to run in behind and stay in the box. He does not drop deep. He doesn't get the ball deep. If he just stays in that box, if you have like Nunes, or if you told Bobby just stay in the box, it'll be a different game. He's coming back.
Here's where I disagree with that. A lot of Liverpool's goals, and one of their biggest parts of their play, is Salah and Diaz stay super high and super wide, like super, super wide, to the point where it almost looks like they don't even have a forward, target forward, which is fine because when they get the ball out wide, everybody starts pushing up. Salah starts cutting in, and either he goes for the shot or he tries to dribble at the edge of the box to get something, or he cuts it back to one of the, like Trent, and then they cross it in from there. And by the time the ball gets played back, they already have 3 or 4 guys in the box.
Usually.
And even if they don't cross it, they shoot and then they score.
I mean, I hope so.
But so I don't think that's the problem about like when Firmino drops in, they don't have necessarily, he doesn't get into the box in time, because by the time they play it out wide to Salah and stuff, everybody's already in the box. They have the cutback option, and then the guys can finish from there, or they can cross it in. That's literally like a couple of the goals that happened this week were like that, and all in their past, that's how they've exploited teams as well. I just think that you don't need Nunez because you guys are fine without. You guys are fine without him, and maybe it's early because the only games that I've seen Nunez playing are the ones where Liverpool have been struggling, and he's just been kind of like
he started one game and against Palace,
and but they were struggling, and it's almost like they just needed him to try and get a goal to salvage the game.
Yeah.
But when they're firing on all cylinders and they have all their best players, I don't think you need Darwin Nunez, because I think you're fine with Salah, Diaz, and Firmino. So again, it's a good. I'm just saying, it's a good, maybe good option to have off the bench for sure. But I don't think that he should be starting. I think you should keep it the way it is with Firmino, and then leave Nunez on the bench in case anything of is needed in terms of like a spark or something.
The thing is though, when you have Bobby and Nunez completely different. They're like complete opposites. The difference is I said the same thing with Haaland for Man City. When opposition just drops back, it's gonna be difficult. Because if it's 0-0 and the opposition is like trying to go for it, they're going to get the gaps and they're going to play in behind. They're going to have the space. It's the same thing with Liverpool. When Bobby plays against the Palaces or the Fulham, whoever, and they drop and they stay back and there's no space, when Bobby comes back and he runs and does all that, there's no need for him to do that. Like against like smaller teams where Liverpool are technically supposed to be superior. Like you need somebody in the box consistently to just be in there. Like...
Yeah, but either way, Nunez is not that type of striker anyway. He's the guy that runs in behind.
Yeah, he runs in behind.
So you're saying when they drop back and there's no space in behind.
Yeah, but he like Nunez is good at heading the ball.
He gets in the box, but
he's
you have
good
other
at
players
headers.
who can get in the box.
But that's the thing. Liverpool, like against Manchester United and Fulham, Crystal Palace was different because we had more possession. It was a lot better performance overall. But against Fulham and Manchester United, both times, you watch those games, Liverpool's midfield does not get inside anywhere near. Milner makes a run in there. He gets bodied by Varane. He can maintain control. There's like, for example, Gundogan from Man City, Bernardo Silva from Man City. Those guys make the runs, dribble in, and score goals because they're making Bruno from Manchester United makes those runs in. Nobody at Liverpool does that. The current midfield, because obviously the injuries. Milner's not going to do that.
If that's the case, then I have a better option for you for next transfer window. a better option than Darwin Nunez. You sell Darwin Nunez.
No.
You sell him for, you probably get a little bit of money.
This
you probably lose a little bit of money now. Alexander Mitrovic.
Oh, no.
Tell me that is not the perfect guy for Liverpool off the bench. No. You have Firmino as a starter. And if you're saying you need someone in the box.
Yeah. I mean, Mitrovic off the bench, he would be fine. But you can't.
I think he's a better option for you than Darwin Nunez.
You've lost the plot, mate. You have lost the plot.
You were telling me. Listen,
this is going on Twitter.
Go ahead. Put it on Twitter.
Mitrovic.
I guarantee people will agree with me.
No, Mitrovic is better than Nunez for Liverpool.
Listen, have you listened to what you have just said?
Okay.
You said when teams drop off and they don't leave any space in behind, you need someone like Darwin Nunez to get into the box. And then you've said in the past, Darwin Nunez is one of those players like Erling Haaland who's going to run in behind and get into the space.
He's also really good at heading the ball, really good at finishing. He's one of the... Look at the Benfica goals he scored.
He's a good finisher. Yes, he's a good finisher. But when you're talking about that specific scenario, which is the scenario that you're talking about that they have issues with, Mitrovic is actually a better fit for you.
Mitrovic will not be a better fit.
Mitrovic will score 6 headers a game anytime you guys are playing against a team that drops off.
Mitrovic is good at heading the ball, yes. That's about it.
Oh, my word.
Look, I like Mitrovic.
The one person in the world who has made Virgil van Dijk look bad is Alexander Mitrovic.
Van Dijk is, let's be honest, Van Dijk has been pretty poor the first 3 games. He did score a goal, though, so hopefully that changes.
No, he has been poor. He looks like he's been poor in the last 3 games just because of that game against Mitrovic. If he had a good game against Mitrovic, he would have been like, Virgil van Dijk's doing well in the beginning of the season.
He did not. First of all, he did not have a terrible game against any of those teams.
It is a hot take. I'm just saying.
Mitrovic. Okay, no. Nunes is miles better than Mitrovic.
You want to like him because you guys have a similar hairstyle. I understand. I understand.
You've lost the plot.
It's the bun coalition.
Nunes brings you'll see. I watched all the Benfica goals he scored.
All I'm saying.
It took me 30 minutes to watch. The guy's finishes in the box. He's a poacher and a guy who can run it behind.
We'll find out.
But
we'll find out. But right now he hasn't started off too hot, and my boy Erling Haaland has. And I told you that guy is just special.
Yeah. By the way,
you gotta admit that.
He's. I never say he's not good. He's one of the best in the world. Gundogan changed that game.
Yeah, he played him that beautiful ball in for him to. But that play
before actually Gundogan didn't even start. They were down to 0.
He came on.
They were down to 0. And that's what I mean by midfielders running and creating that space, because he makes those runs in.
He did that
opens the space for everybody else.
He did that in the last game of the Premier League last season.
Yeah, he's a game changer.
Listen, yes, great player, and obviously he's not going to get as much credit because he's not the one that's putting it in the back of the net. But he deserves as much credit.
Even Newcastle scored, so like he's scoring goals.
I'm saying this game. Did you see that goal from Erling Haaland, where Gundogan plays him in?
Yeah.
And he holds off the guy, takes a touch, and has a finish.
That was
how easy he made that look.
Yeah, but
that's special.
I mean, that's special. He's one of the best.
He is the best striker in the world at the moment.
Yeah, because Nuno's not playing, so I guess a little bit.
Listen, don't even.
How's Lewandowski doing? I don't even know.
Lewandowski scoring goals.
Is he?
He scored a back heel. You should have seen it. It was sick. It wasn't just like a regular back heel. It was like he made a run, and instead of taking a shot, he back heel shot it and scored.
I haven't paid attention to La Liga at all. I don't even know Benzema.
Madrid. 4 for 4, I believe. Yeah. They haven't lost any games yet, and they're gonna win the title again. Yeah. Barcelona's gonna come in second, and it's shaping up to be better Clásicos than it has been in the last couple years. Yeah, especially without Ronaldo. Yeah. The Clásicos are a little bit better now. But back to the Premier League. Listen, so far I'm right in my prediction that Erling Haaland is gonna get better statistics than Darwin Nunez. Yeah. I don't care which one fits better with which team. Erling Haaland is fitting better right now with Manchester City.
Well, Darwin hasn't played.
The man scored a hat trick.
He hasn't played
in the comeback win.
How many goals does he have now?
It's not my fault if Darwin doesn't play. That's his fault.
6 goals?
6 goals.
Well, no, you can't say that. You can't say it is his fault, of course.
It's his fault.
But you were telling me before when was it? The second or third episode when we were comparing. And I said, Haaland is more injury prone. You're like, well, unless an injury happens or something like that happens, then it's different. And now you're telling me, Nunes is out for 3 games.
You can't control injuries.
No,
but you can control red cards.
No. Well,
you can control.
You just told me Liverpool last week. It doesn't matter. There's no excuse.
What do you mean?
There's no excuse for Liverpool having
in terms of as a team. Like I'm just saying, there's excuses, but they don't matter.
Yeah, they don't. I mean, right? None of it's gonna matter.
All I'm saying is, in this case, Darwin Nunez could still be on the field.
He could, yeah.
It's not like somebody came in and 2-foot tackled him, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm out for 3 weeks. I couldn't do anything about that."
But when we first talked about Haaland and Nunez, you said, "Oh, well, if Haaland gets injured, obviously, barring any injury, then it's different."
Right.
So
that's what. But I'm telling you, it's different.
Yeah, but now last week you said this doesn't count for Liverpool.
Like if Darwin Nunez got injured, I'd be like, "Oh, we talked about it." I'd say the exact same thing you're saying right now.
I know.
We can't really see. We can't really debate it because he's injured.
So how many goals does Haaland have?
6.
6, and Darwin has 1 or 2.
1 or 2.
1 or 2.
He's tied in like 21st place for the Golden Boot.
Listen,
Erling Haaland is 2 goals ahead.
Listen,
of the next one.
I don't even know. Has Salah even scored? Yeah, he scored 1 or 2.
Doesn't matter.
Nunez comes back. I give him 3. Actually, I don't even know he's in the
Nunez
play.
has to score 4 goals to catch up to Haaland.
4 goals is nothing.
And we're only in the 4th match week.
Yeah.
Think about the
distance
close. That Erling Haaland is going to have.
He's going to be close.
Halfway through the season, he's going to be miles ahead of him.
I don't know about miles. It depends if, again, injuries and if he gets on a red card against Everton.
Darwin Nunez made a mistake. I understand.
Yeah, a big mistake.
But that's a childish mistake that you made. Experienced players in the Premier League do not make that mistake. And he made that mistake because
he's not experienced. He's young.
Exactly. So, but that was controllable, and he failed to control it. Failed to control his temper. Got the best of him.
At the point before we got the red card,
mistake.
Nunez had better stats than Haaland at the time.
What about now?
What 3 games?
We're talking about now, all right? I know you're a Liverpool fan and you're always stuck on the past.
No.
The history. I get it.
God.
We're not talking. Listen. All right, let's move on. Anyway, congratulations. I will say congratulations to Liverpool. They looked like they were struggling in the first few games.
Yeah.
And in that game, obviously, and yes, you could say it's Bournemouth. It doesn't matter because they matched the record for the most goals in a game or whatever. Cool.
And now we have Newcastle.
All right. So you guys are on the way up. Liverpool was only in shambles for 1 week. Only in shambles for 1 week. But when you lose to Manchester United, when Manchester United was in shambles, then Liverpool automatically takes the shambles. Yeah. But
I was watching both games at the same time. So obviously when Liverpool were up like 5-6-0, I was still watching, but I had my eyes on Manchester City. And I thought for a second, back to the Manchester City game. 1, do you remember when Mane hit Ederson in the face like a few years ago and he got a red card? Similar thing, Haaland, not even, no yellow, no red, no nothing, no VAR.
I didn't see it, so I will not comment on this.
That's 1. The second thing in that game is Palace scored a 3rd goal, and they didn't count it.
Okay, well,
and they should have counted it.
Why?
Did you see it?
No, I didn't see it.
Ederson rolled the ball.
Mm-hmm.
He got intercepted like this far. I don't know how far exactly, like this far away. So he rolled the ball. The guy got a touch on it. It went to a Crystal Palace player. He shot it, scored.
And they said it was interference with the goalkeeper?
And they said interference
Yep.
because he has to be 5 yards after the pass or a certain amount of space after he passes it. What was that when Karius did it in the Champions League? Benzema got it literally off his hands.
Yeah, I don't know. Benzema didn't get it off his hands.
There was like a...
There's a difference. I don't know. I'd have to look at it. But there is a difference because Karius
threw
it. No, he threw it. He didn't roll it. He threw it. And Benzema extended a leg. Benzema did not get in front of Karius.
Yeah,
he did not get in front of Karius.
No, that's what the guy did. He extended the leg. Like he didn't get in front. Like he didn't.
Benzema was like a good 4 yards away, 4 or 5 yards away.
Mm-hmm. It was.
We'll go watch it. Yeah. And he extends the leg. He didn't like block the thing. He extended the leg because when he threw the ball out, he's like, "Oh, I can stop this." And then that one you can't call for interference.
I know,
I haven't seen the Crystal Palace one, but
and literally everybody's talking.
I think you're exaggerating.
No, I watched the Sky Sports after. It wasn't Carragher or Neville or any of those guys. And they were asking the referees, like there's one of the ex-referees, like they were asking him, like, why is that not a goal? He's like, well, it's debatable. It just depends on how you look at it. If you're saying that he's intentionally interfering with the ball, then you have to let it go for a certain amount of time, like a certain amount of distance on a roll. Since when has
that one's another one of those rules that there's gray area there because
like if you're rolling it and the ball left your hand, it doesn't matter. Like you just let it go? Like you can't just let it go,
right?
Like it doesn't.
There's
make
a little
sense.
bit of gray area. It depends on how close you are.
Like if the goalkeeper has the ball at their feet, you fucking go like slide tackle. You do whatever.
I don't
know
what the official rule is, but that's why you also can't intercept it. Like when they bounce it.
Yeah, you can't intercept it when they bounce
it.
And I understand that because you're bouncing it. Actually, they changed it because you were able to head the ball. I remember Suarez used to try and head it off the goalkeeper's hands or something, whatever. But I understand when you bounce it because you brought to punt it and like they could lead to an injury or whatever. But if you're rolling the ball, there should be no rule if it leaves your hand.
I think there needs to be. I don't know what the rule is, but there's got to be a distance because at a certain point you're no longer blocking the goalkeeper from being able to play out, and then at a certain point you are. No matter whichever direction he rolls it, you're still in his way, even if it leaves his hand.
Yeah, I think the rule is if it leaves the keeper's hand, like if
that's where then you're gonna have people getting in the way of the goalkeeper because as soon as the ball leaves his hand, even if they're this close.
But that's what I mean. Like it's not like if you have the ball in your hands and I jump right in front of you, obviously you're not gonna roll it. Like all the keepers when the guys get in front of them,
players will stay in front of the goalkeeper until he lets the ball go. And then it's like
but that's illegal.
You gotta give him enough space for him to be able to have a good clearance or good throw or whatever it is. If you're too close to the point where he can't get one, then you're in his way.
I don't know.
I didn't see it, so
at 3-0 different game.
But anyway,
no comeback.
Listen. You're happy. You're a happy lad today. I get it.
No, I'm not happy.
You're happy.
I'm happy for Liverpool. I'm pissed off
if you would have tied against Bournemouth,
but
you would have panicked. We were 1 week away from you saying, "Okay, now I'm starting to get worried."
Yeah, I would. I would have been. But I'm also upset about the Man City score.
Man City
came back.
This is the thing again with Man City. It's not like Liverpool in their first few games that they struggled. They never really looked like, okay, we just went down by 2. Now let's try and mount a comeback. It was always like if we tied, we just looked the same as the other team. We looked bad. Yeah. Manchester City, they go down a couple goals, and you know that as soon as they go down, they're like, all right, crap, now we have to actually start not trying, but now we actually we have to do something. And then they got 90% possession for the rest of the game. It's just a matter of whether they run out of time to make the comeback. Erling Haaland is special. I was watching that game, and I saw every single goal, and after every single goal, Brittany was...
Not after every single goal.
She was listening to me scream.
The tap-in, he thought he missed for a second.
Calm down.
He thought
he was in the right spot at the right time. Yeah. And that's what happens when you're a good player. Yeah, and on top of that, it's not like he was just a Chicharito who's just in the right spot at the right time. That goal, I'm telling you, it looks simple. You don't realize the complexity of it. He makes the run. He gets into the right spot. He takes a fantastic first touch. Yeah. As he's taking the touch away from where the pressure's coming from, because he's got one guy on one side and one guy on the other, he holds off the other guy without being able to fully see where he's coming from. Takes a touch and just slots it into the goal as if he just made another pass to a teammate.
Should have been sent out before.
Special. You rarely see players who are as fast as him.
Yeah, that's true.
Who are as strong as they are fast.
Physical presence.
And who are natural finishers. You see players who are rapid that can't finish to save their lives. Or players who are rapid but not very strong, so anytime they get into a physical battle, it breaks down. Or players who are strong and physical but are not very fast.
He's like...
He is special.
Lewandowski when he was a bit younger. Not as...
More special.
He's quicker. He's quicker than Lewandowski.
Lewandowski had the finishing and the power and the strength.
Yeah.
He did not have the speed.
He's
a triple threat. Triple threat, Erling Haaland. Anyway, I'm not even a Manchester City fan. I'm an Erling Haaland fan because I like the guy. And I think he's special.
Van Dijk shut him down.
I'll tell you what's special, though. Arsenal. Arsenal are special right now. The one team that said... the one team that was able to look Alexander Mitrovic in the eye and live to tell the tale. All right? Liverpool weren't able to do that. Okay? Listen.
You have lost the plot.
Again, going back to how Arsenal in their past would have ended up giving up that goal and then lost 1-0. The new Arsenal, the man who gave up the goal, the man who made the mistake, Gabriel, scores the game winner.
To make up for it.
It's beautiful to watch, George. It's beautiful to watch.
Arsenal are looking really good. Really good.
You see this, ladies and gentlemen?
Oh, my. Guys.
This is what we are. This hat is not from 2003, 2004. This hat is from 2022 right here.
I know. Guys, this is what I'm going to say. Javi bought a hat when Arsenal are finally winning games.
London Invincibles, baby.
When in the past 10 years has Javi...
I've had this hat. I've just never brought it out because of our past
You were
form,
ashamed. You were ashamed. You're a closet fan. That's messed up. You need to be vocal about your team, whether winning or losing, okay?
Listen, I was vocal about how hard it was to support Arsenal in the last decade of life.
Absolutely amazing so far, Arsenal. The question is always going to be
top teams.
Can they keep this up?
That's what I'm saying. Can they keep it up, and can they perform against the top teams? For me, in the past, it's always been when we face a top team, I'm like, we're probably going to lose.
This weekend is going to who do you guys play during the week?
We have one more team before we play Manchester United. I can't remember who we play this weekend, but Manchester United's in 2 games. That one's going to be a big one.
Who's at home?
I think it's Manchester United. I believe it's at Old Trafford.
Is it?
Yep. Let me double check to confirm, but I'm pretty sure.
Well, whatever it is, I'm hoping for a tie.
So we play Arsenal we're at home against Aston Villa this Wednesday.
Struggling Villa too.
And then on Sunday we go to Old Trafford and play against Manchester United. My predictions are Arsenal plays at home versus Villa. Easy dub. Continue our great form.
Villa is struggling, so possibly.
Continue our great form. Going to Manchester United. And that game is going to tell us a lot about the season. Because Manchester United are doing 2 games now in a row that they've won. They're starting to be on the up. If Manchester United wins their next game, I think, hold on, let me see. They play one more team before us. Yeah. So they play Crystal Palace. And Crystal Palace has been decent this season in terms of giving teams some trouble.
Yeah.
So they go to Crystal Palace. If they beat Palace and they go into the Arsenal game, 3 games in a row winning.
Yeah, confidence high.
And then Arsenal wins at Old Trafford. The question about whether we're going to be in the top 4 this season is answered.
No.
Yes.
No. Okay. Is it going to be a big game?
Listen,
yeah.
You can say there's going to be a dip, and I'm fine with that. I probably agree that there's going to be at some point in our season there's going to be a dip in form, which naturally happens with every team. In terms of Arsenal, the problem is that we start bad. We have a really bad start, and then not a great start. We find our form a little bit, and then it dips, and then by the end of the season we can't catch back up, and we're playing catch up. Right now, if we can go 6 or 7 games with 6 wins, 5 wins, and 2 draws or something like that, when we finally have a dip, we'll be okay. Because then after that, when we regain our form, we're still going to be in a place to get top 4.
But usually Arsenal is I remember Arsenal being on top of the league a few times in the past years, with 10, 15 games in. And then come January.
But the start has never been this good. We haven't had a start this good since, I believe it was either the Invincibles or the season after the Invincibles. Something like that. That was the stat.
I just don't think one game is going to tell you if Arsenal's going to finish top 4
because if we can beat Manchester United, then that answers my question about this season. Are we going to be able to compete with the top teams? And Manchester United, are they a top team? They will be by the end of the season.
Yeah, now Manchester United are not going to be finished.
It's crazy, huh? 2 games and the conversation around Manchester United changes.
And the transfers.
180.
Now they bought in Anthony, 100 million by the way.
They were pushing that one, huh? They've been pushing that one.
Absolutely insane.
Ajax wasn't so happy with that one.
No, but 100 million, of course, if you're Ajax, you take that. 100 million. Ronaldo 10 years ago was 81 million. He was the best player in the world. Listen,
Ajax has to be the richest team in the world.
Has to be.
So I was reading on Twitter or something. It was like a football conspiracy theories or something, and it says that Ajax get a new starting 11 each year, sell all 11, and then get a new one.
I swear.
That's how it feels.
I mean, Manchester United just bought what? The left back? He came from Ajax, didn't he?
Lisandro as well. Lisandro Martinez.
Yeah, Martinez for 60 mil. They're buying Anthony 116. If the left back came from there, that's another 40 mil. That's Ajax 200 million from Manchester United.
Listen, they are investing all their resources into their youth, which is smart.
Yeah,
because they're financially going to be stable for a long time.
Years.
Yeah, and they're one of the top clubs.
Yeah,
and every couple years they're going to have a season where, like they did not too long ago, where they got pretty far in the Champions League, and in the league that they're playing in,
and
they don't need to be a Barcelona or a Manchester City.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to the important topic of this podcast today.
So you're saying you're saying right now, if Arsenal beat Manchester United on Sunday or Saturday, whenever they play, they're gonna make top 4 100%.
Easy. I'm even surprised people are having the top 4 conversation right now. We have started so much better than we started in the past, and every season, if we would have had a better start to that season, we would have made in the last like couple seasons, we would have made Champions League or at least Europa for sure.
Okay, but you guys were in the top 4 last year in January
With a bad start.
By like 10 points or something.
We lost
like
our first 3 games of the season.
But you were up by 10 points or 12 points, wherever it was, in
That's
third place. And then that dip of form.
Yep. But what I'm telling you is that might happen again. But because of the start we've had, even the dip in form is going to allow us to still maintain our spot in the Champions League.
So what happens if you beat Manchester United, and then you play Chelsea, Liverpool, City, and you lose?
We won't lose against all those teams. That's what I'm saying. We can afford to lose against 1 or 2 of them and then draw the other or win against the other, and we're still going to be okay because we're taking care of business at the bottom half of the table.
I just think it's way, 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 way too early to be saying.
It's not even a bold prediction, George.
It is a bold prediction.
The way Arsenal are playing right now are the best team in the Premier League.
The way they're playing right now. But it's only 4 games in. It is only 4 games in.
But the thing is, again, Arsenal, when they play like this, typically in the past, when they have like really good games, it's just like a random good run, like a good spell of games. But right now,
it feels different.
It feels different. It feels like the culture has changed. It feels like even if we lose a game, we're going to be okay.
Yeah.
Before it was like we lose a game, we're like, oh, here we go. Here's the dip in form, and here back to the usual, back to the old good old
My
Arsenal.
prediction was Arsenal in the top 4 before all this, and I still stick to it. But
I said Arsenal 4th.
But to say, that's what I said, and Chelsea 5th, and Man City 3rd. I still stick to that. But to say that game, that specific game is going to tell you everything, no. There's way too many.
I don't want to get ahead of myself. If we beat Aston Villa, that means 5 games, and then we have 15 points. If we beat Manchester United, 18 points from 6 games, that's massive.
It is. But still, I told you, the 8th game is where everything starts to get real. How much ahead, how far ahead are you from the other like 5 teams?
2 points from Man City and Chelsea
and Brian and obviously Brian are probably going to drop off at some point. I don't know what the other teams are.
But here's the thing, though. I'm telling you, I'm
Spurs
not worried about those teams.
Spurs.
Those aren't the teams that we're competing against.
But it is.
No, we're not competing against Manchester City. We're not competing against Chelsea.
Yeah, but like
we're competing against Manchester United, Tottenham.
Yeah, well, Spurs are. But that's what I'm saying. Spurs are going to get games.
But we're ahead of those guys.
You're ahead by 2 points, 3 points. That's what I'm saying. It's so early on. The first 8 games, like you can be in first place after 8 games, and the second place, third place, fourth, fifth are like within 5 points, and those 5 points mean nothing. Like obviously, it's good to be.
Here's the thing.
Ahead at first, but 5 points you can. That's like.
But the thing is about those teams is those are the teams that are also going to
they're going to drop
falling off.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm saying I'm not worried about Manchester City and Liverpool, for example, because those are the teams that are going to create a gap. And those guys are going to be like last season. I think it was like the top 2 teams were a decent amount of points ahead of third, fourth, and fifth.
The past 4 or 5 years.
Exactly. So that's why I'm saying we're not competing against those guys. We're competing. That's why we can afford to lose. Like if I had to pick, obviously you don't want to lose any games, but let's be realistic. If you had to pick, you'd say I'll take a loss against Manchester City and Liverpool because we know those guys are going to beat all the other teams. Yeah. And we're not really. We're right now. We have to build season by season. And right now, as excited as I am, I'm not going to say, oh, we're going to win the Premier League. I'm saying let's just get top 4 this season and get back to champions. And then from there, transfer market, we can start attracting a couple more players because now we already have some pretty good players.
Yeah.
We start attracting more players, and then next thing you know, we're fighting for third. And then the conversation of can we win the Premier League soon starts happening.
So if, let's say, you tie Aston Villa at home, do you still feel the same about Manchester United?
If we win, yeah. If we get 2 ties, I still think we're going to get Champions League. I think if we can get 1 tie and 1 win, easly convince Champions League.
Okay.
Because 6 games, and you'd have, what does that put you at? 16 points?
Yeah.
16 points from 6 games is fantastic.
It is.
And if we can get both wins, if we can get both wins, Champions League. Easy.
I like I said,
I'd give the entire team 2 weeks vacation after that.
Oh,
say, give me the academy. Give me the academy for the next 2 games while these guys recover a little bit.
Oh, this man.
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. But listen,
look, like I said,
it's
Arsenal,
not that crazy anymore.
I think Arsenal are going to get top 4. That's my prediction as well. But to say easy,
To say it's
6
been decided,
games in.
it has been decided, yes. And you will see at the end of the season.
It's not even like a fifth of the season in. It's not even like 6 games. It's like
sixth of the season.
That's
somewhere around there.
Like, there's so many things can happen within a season.
Potentially. Yeah, but I'm saying if we can have a start like this.
Yeah, it's
later
a lot
in
easier.
the season.
It's a lot easier to like dip in form and still be fine.
And what if we continue? We beat Manchester United, and then we play, Liverpool and Man City, and then we get results against those guys.
Yeah.
Listen, I don't. That's far ahead. That's unrealistic to think about that because a lot of things can happen in between.
Yeah.
The next 2 games are going to be very important, and I think the next 2 games are going to decide. It might still get. I'm not saying it won't be like close towards the end of the season, but I think because of that start, we're going to manage to pull it off in the end.
Well, you said it's easy. It's going to be easy.
Well,
you said easy.
Easy is a relative term.
Mm.
Easy for you is different.
Listen, I want Liverpool to be in the top 4. That's all that matters, right?
Liverpool's going to be in the top 4. You guys are going to be fine.
I hope so.
Teams that don't get as much talk on this podcast, Tottenham and Chelsea typically, because we're obviously not Tottenham and Chelsea fans. Tottenham gets the dub.
Again,
gets the dub.
They can play.
But they played Forest.
They can play an ugly game, good game, any game. Conte just wants
and Chelsea gets the dub as well.
Listen, Son came.
You want him, huh?
I want him in Liverpool 1. But obviously
he would fit so well in Liverpool.
He would be perfect Liverpool. He's not happy at Spurs. He's not happy.
That man is happy anywhere he is.
No.
He's a happy man.
He got subbed off.
He's like Conte.
He got subbed off. And he did it last year towards the end when Conte started subbing him off. He hasn't gone his way so far, Son. So now Richarlison is getting more playing time, and he's not happy.
It does not matter.
I mean, he's not going to get sold or anything. I mean,
he's going.
Son is $100 million worth.
But he's a starter. It's not like he's sharing. He's not like if he's sharing his game time, it's only because the game's already been decided.
What was it? 1-0? And then he got subbed out, and he was pissed, and he was like swearing and throwing bottles. Like, and that's Son. Like, he doesn't. You don't get that out of him.
Premier League changes you. England changes.
Yeah, I swear you don't get that from Son. But I mean, obviously he's gonna stay. It's not like there's any rumors or anything. But if there were any rumors,
yeah, you would take him.
Yeah, 100%.
Klopp would take him.
Oh my God, without even thinking about it. But I think Spurs are gonna be up there. Like, they're gonna win games ugly and all that. Has there been any big games? No, it's just been Liverpool, Manchester United. That's been a big game.
Chelsea and Tottenham earlier, but
yeah, that was good. They both dropped points.
But Liverpool, Man City, that's gotta come soon at some point. But anyway,
yeah, it's I like Brian.
Yeah,
Brian are playing absolutely amazing. Their coach is absolutely amazing. It's with the players
who was
that he has.
Who was it last season that was in Brighton's spot? West Ham, was it?
Yeah, West Ham is strong. Well, they got 3 points, but
last season they were like doing really well at the beginning, and then eventually they just fell off.
Well, yeah, West Ham they were in first place for the first 4 or 5 games or something like that. Yeah. And then it just dropped off. I think West Ham are gonna be completely fine. They just got in Paqueta, whatever his name is from. He's good.
But teams like Brighton are just happy right now with a great start because they know that they're in the relegation battle. So if they're this far away from the relegation battle, then they're excited. They're happy.
Graham Potter, man, what a coach.
You like him, huh?
I love that guy. Such a good coach.
He looks like he would be a good coach.
Such a good coach.
Just by looking at him, I can tell. Just by looking at him, you know?
What do you think about David Moyes then? What about Steven Gerrard?
What's the one guy from England, the national team, that just had a stinker? The older guy. Not David Moyes.
Roy Hodgson.
Roy Hodgson. That one clip. You remember that one clip where they he sees that? Well, no, that one. But there's one where he's like just looking. And I can't remember what he was doing, but he was like just not doing anything. And then he realized the camera was looking at him, and he was like,
yeah.
And I was like, come on, man. Like, you could tell that guy's just struggling out there. Yeah, and that clip where he's like, it's another goal, and he's just, head goes down. You could tell he's struggling. But listen.
He kept Palace up, though. In the relegation battle, he kept them up. So.
Here's the biggest thing. When it comes to coaching, let's get into the coaches side of things, because I think coaches, the influence that coaches have in the Premier League can be a major impact, but it's always going to be limited. At that level, it's always going to be. You could be the greatest coach in the world, Pep Guardiola. You could be Zinedine Zidane. You could be you could take Ancelotti. You can take Jurgen Klopp. You have to have one of the top 3 teams in the Premier League to have a chance of winning. There's anomalies like Leicester, but Leicester is once in every 50 years that's going to happen.
So you're talking about winning the league?
Yes.
You're not talking about having a crazy season and getting top 4 and
no. Okay. Well, that's what I'm talking about. That's the impact. You can have a very Graham Potter, right?
Mm-hmm.
He can be so impactful to the point where he turns Brighton into a top 8 team, top 7, whatever. Whether that happens or not, it might drop off. I don't know, but just have a good start. You can have a good impact like that. But no matter how good he is of a coach, he will never win the Premier League with them. Don't even think about that, George. Don't even stop.
It could be a Leicester scenario. Like, you never can say never.
No,
but
because Leicester is not going to happen for another 50 to 100 years.
Yeah, it's probably not going to happen for a while. But
remind me the last time that happened.
I think it was like either Blackburn or Nottingham Forest in like the 90s.
Exactly. So I'm just saying, like, the coaching, I think the coaching side of things, it's kind of, those coaches really are using, like, he's using Brighton to get him the next big job.
Yeah. 100%.
And the next big job still won't be a Manchester City, won't be a Liverpool, but it'll be a team like, I don't know, a team somewhere else. I'm just trying to think of a good fit. It might be a Tottenham.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But the coaching side of things, here, again, we talk about when we do your coaching licenses, and when you hear the term dinosaur coach, and you think about like all those old guys, those old school guys, that it's like the number 9 in football now. It's like just going extinct. Yeah. You keep some of the old guys around because of experience, but most of them, if they're still coaching the same way they used to coach, they're not successful.
No, they're not.
They're just bouncing from job to job because they have the name and stuff like that.
They're assistant coaches at this point.
I like when teams start looking at more modern style coaches, and it's not that you have to be young. That's not the case. It's just you have to be willing to adapt. That's the most important part. You see coaches nowadays who are younger typically because they're a little bit more willing to adapt to the new age of how you can incorporate technology into your training sessions, video analysis, things like that back in the day it was like just run your socks off, you know what I mean? So I like seeing those coaches get good jobs and get good results, because it kind of makes me think of like that's what I want to be. I want to continue to adjust, and I want to make sure that I never I never get to the point where the game outgrows me. And I feel like a lot of the old coaches, that's what happens.
Yeah. I mean,
that's what happens, and that's why they got to retire. That's why they just start bouncing from job to job.
And then most of them are in the Premier League now as like assistant coaches, and they're just,
there's a lot of young coaches now in the like relatively young coaches in the Premier League.
Scott Parker, Marcus Silva. I don't know. Graham Potter's fairly young.
Mikel Arteta.
But
that's we can talk about Arsenal and Arsene Wenger. That's what happened to him. Great coach.
Yeah.
In the right time.
Yeah.
But at a certain point, it got to where he was no longer effective, and he even admitted it after he left. He's like, I stayed too long. I should have retired earlier. I should have left earlier.
But with that being said, Arsene Wenger would get top 4 year in, year out. Like
not anymore.
Well, no, I'm not saying right now he would. I'm saying like he did the job. Like, did he win the Premier Leagues that he probably would have wanted to? Probably not.
Right.
But he got the job done in terms of, because to get top 4 in the Premier League,
it's difficult.
That's an achievement.
And that was back in the day when Arsenal, like, top 4 was a normal thing.
Yeah.
Now it's like we need to just get back into top 4.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like, Arsene Wenger back then did the job, even though he stayed too long. He still did the job compared to like some other, like in the past 10 years. How many times did you get in the top 4? Probably like 4 or 5.
But there's a couple of things that go with that as well. It's also the consistency. Like, you have to build the idea or the philosophy and the culture that you want, and that doesn't take a season. And the problem with a lot of these Premier League teams is that the owners are so desperate to get results
in the now instead of worrying about
like think about this. And again, it's early in the season, so you don't know. But if Mikel Arteta would have been let go after last season for not qualifying in 4th, there was a couple times where people were saying he needs to go.
Oh yeah.
And then you bring a new coach in. Now you restart the process all over. You're back to square one. The people who do, or the clubs who do well, in my opinion, a lot of times are the ones who are understanding of the fact that it might be a dip in form for a couple of seasons while they rebuild, and they have to be honest with themselves about whether they can rebuild. I think there's just a lot of pressure from the fans, from the investors or whatever, that they need to get results right away, which I understand. But there's a lot of projects that you're like, hey, look, we're already past trying to get results. We need to just rebuild and just hit the reset button. If Arsenal can continue to back Arteta and give him 4 years, 5 years, what Liverpool did with Klopp, then look what happens. Now all of a sudden, nobody's going to remember those last few years, the first few years under Klopp. Everyone's going to remember the years that he's been winning and he's been successful. So
yeah. I mean, perfect example. One, like you said, Jurgen Klopp, he came to Liverpool. Liverpool were, we had like second place on the Brandon Rodgers, but didn't win much. We're barely getting top 4. And then you have Jurgen Klopp comes in, gets 5th place, win the Europa League, go into the Champions League, and since then haven't looked back. One of the best teams in the world. Then you completely the opposite side of the spectrum. You have Manchester United, who got Sir Alex left, similar time when Arsene Wenger left, and ever since then, it's just been, coach for 2 years, coach for 2 years, coach. Oh, fire him, and they never give enough time for a coach to. Like Mourinho, he finished second. He said that's probably the best thing I've done in my career. And then the following season, they were like 8th, 7th or 8th.
Yep.
And people realize that, like, it takes time to build something. Mourinho is different because Mourinho is like very extreme, where like 2-3 years and he needs to go somewhere else. But you need to give coaches time. Like Chelsea, they fired their coach because they want to win now.
Right.
And then the following season, they don't start too well. Fire him, get a new one, win now, fire him. You're never gonna build a culture that's like long lasting, like Manchester City. If they fired Pep the first year when he was nowhere near winning the Premier League and he didn't win the Champions League, what would happen then? Like, we wouldn't be here talking about Manchester City being one of the
going
best.
back to Manchester United, that's why a lot of people say it's the worst job in football to take. Like nobody wants to take that job, because especially after Sir Alex Ferguson left, it was like, okay, well, if you don't do well, it's definitely your fault. Yeah. And you're going to get fired because we've been winning and we've been the best team in the Premier League. And if you do well, it's not really it's not because of you. It's because we
built the team.
Yeah. Sir Alex Ferguson gave you a winning team.
Yeah.
So you're always going to be like, you're always going to be screwed in that position. Yeah. And then again, they were too stubborn to think that they needed to rebuild. And they gave each guy a year and a half, 2 years or whatever, and then interim coaches here. And then what's going to happen with Ten Hag if he doesn't do well this season? They're just going to get rid of him and find another guy?
And they spend another $200 million in a transfer window? That's insane. It's
need
crazy
to give him time.
Because I mentioned it last week about the Manchester United owners. But if you look at how much money they're spending on the team, you can't complain.
I'm telling you, man, their scouting department's got to go.
I mean,
they're paying way too much money for the wrong players. That's the problem.
Well, those 3 players are like Ten Hag's players. Like I'm sure he has a lot of say in those. Now, whether he has a say in how much money or whatever, that's different.
Harry Maguire, McTominay, and Fred were not his players, and I don't know why. Like you said, McTominay was from the academy or whatever. I get it. Yeah. Still,
but
sell
Harry
him.
Maguire, 80 mil.
Sell him. Maguire.
Fofana just went to Chelsea. World record for a defender. Fofana. I mean, don't get me wrong. The guy is really good, but Fofana is a world record for a defender.
Now the whole transfer market and the negotiations between teams is not like it used to be.
No, of course not.
Where it's like, okay, that's a fair price for our guy. Now it's like, okay, what is the highest possible amount that we can get? I don't care if we screw the other team over, because now we can just say, well, look at the market now. Look, this guy's going for this much and this guy's going for that much. But really, when you're thinking about what their actual value is, a lot of those guys, that's not their actual value. That's just because people panic because they need players, and the market, people are doing stupid things in the market, selling for or buying for crazy amounts, and then next thing you know, they feel like they need to sell their players for the same amounts, even though when they're not worth that much.
So where do you stand on that? If you're let's say Arsenal, and this is before Arteta, because now you guys are spending, at least you're like buying players, but like before it was always like, oh, Arsenal are a bit stingy. They don't want to pay for this. They don't want to give the weekly wage. Liverpool the same way. Liverpool need to sell players to raise money to buy players. And then Liverpool have a structure where you can't pay anybody more than $250,000 a week or whatever. But then there's like a divide. You're doing it the right way, or so you look at it the right way. And then you have Manchester City, Manchester United, who's like, we don't care how much you cost, or Chelsea. We don't care how much you cost and how much you want to get paid a week. You're coming here. Perfect example, Anthony. The guy hasn't scored. He's an attacking player. A forward, you can say, a winger. He hasn't scored more than 10 goals in the Netherlands for Ajax. He is 100 million. And he's going to get paid like 300K or whatever a week.
He's 100 million because Manchester United need him.
Yeah. But
they've identified as like, this is the guy that we need. So Ajax is like, well, you're Manchester United. You can pay $100 million.
Yeah, but like Ajax, I'm completely fine with that. Like they want to get as much as they can. But if you're a team like Chelsea spending world record fees for Fofana, if you're Manchester United, is that the wrong approach? Because it hasn't worked for Manchester United. They spent 80 million on Maguire. Like where do you?
It's the wrong approach if it doesn't work.
Where do you draw the line of, okay, we've done this in the past, we're panic buying because the window's closing, and then that's it?
Well, let's compare Manchester City and Liverpool because they've done the opposite approaches, right?
Yeah, completely opposite.
Which one's the right approach?
I mean, depends how you look at it.
Results.
Well, results, but Manchester United didn't do it. Like Manchester United doing the Man City way, and they're not getting results.
Right. Well, then it's the wrong approach. But Manchester City, it's the right approach. That's what I'm saying.
So
it only matters if you get the results. So Liverpool, what I'm saying is like Liverpool and Manchester City have found the right approach for both of them. And people can say, oh, Manchester City just spending lots of money and buying the best players. That's not fair. It doesn't matter because for them, their objective is to win Premier Leagues and to win Champions Leagues. Right now, they haven't won a Champions League. But when they do win the Champions League, and that's what most people are saying, when they do, it's going to be the right approach. Liverpool didn't feel like they needed to spend as much, and they went through the whole rebuilding process. But that's the difference, is that Liverpool had to take 2 or 3 years to not get anything before they're here. Manchester City didn't have to go through that. Manchester City was like, well, that's why we're buying players, so we don't have to go through 2 or 3 years of a rebuilding process. So you could say it's the right way or the wrong way. You could say it's the right way when they win the Premier League. You could say it's the wrong way when they don't get the results. Manchester United, we'll see at the end of the season if they get Champions League. It's the right. It doesn't matter if they spend $100 million on Anthony because that's what they needed to do.
But at what point, if you are financial fair play or Premier League, I don't know what the rules are. At what point do you say, because it's not fair to the lower teams?
It's not. But that's not. Unfortunately, that's not the way. If it was fair to all the lower teams, then things would be different at the end of the season. Manchester City wouldn't be winning the Premier League every year.
So like Newcastle just gets bought by some random billionaire.
Someone worked hard to become a billionaire.
Yeah.
And they can do whatever they want with their money. And if they choose to give it all to one team instead of, sharing it across the board or whatever, that's their right.
You don't care about
I don't care. I don't care.
I mean, I don't care.
That's the way it is. It's not going to change.
Yeah, it's not going to change one. And if PSG don't get in trouble, then nobody will anyway. So it's whatever. And in
France, by the way, correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of the players go to France and play in France because there's no taxes, so they get 100% of what they're making. Can you imagine that?
I mean, that's why Messi left Spain because the taxes there are like 40% or whatever. I don't know if that's true in France. I have no idea.
I heard that about France. I don't know what their tax situation is, but I know I heard that the players don't get taxed from their earnings.
Well, it's probably PSG saying, you know what? We'll pay the taxes.
That's like almost like another.
That's a lot.
Third of your money. Yeah. Maybe even half for some of those guys.
It's insane.
So, anyway, let's recap the match week. Georgie's happy. I'm happy. And I've been happy since we started. Yeah. Since we started 4 weeks ago when the Premier League started. I think I'll continue to be happy. I think you're going to continue to be happy, but you're not going to be super excited because you're going to be like, oh, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. We need to get our guys healthy, injuries. The same excuses that you give me on the podcast every single week.
Listen, it's not an excuse when you have 6 or 7 guys that are out. And now Harvey Elliott's out too, potentially.
Talk to your medical team. They're having a nightmare out there.
I don't know what's going on. There's a witch in the building, all right? But Liverpool need a midfielder. It has to happen. By the way, today, Twitter went crazy. Frankie de Jong on the video with like suitcase going to London. Everybody, including me, obviously the reports came out and everybody's like, oh my God, where's he going? Chelsea, Liverpool, or Manchester United? And now look, if Liverpool have the chance, which we don't because he's earning 600K or whatever a week at Barca or whatever, Liverpool are nowhere near going to be able to pay that. But if Liverpool have a chance, they better go all out to get this guy because you have a midfielder for the next 5 to 10 years, like in your hands. And he would fit in the dynamic, whatever. But with that being said, he's just going to his friend's wedding. Van de Beek's getting married. So that's all it is. But everybody got all hyped up. Every single team in the Premier League.
You never know.
Oh my
Transfer
God,
market's crazy. You never know.
And there's only, Thursday it ends.
Yep.
So
over.
that's going to be.
Could be a bit of both. A wedding and signing some papers.
Yeah, Fabrizio said it. He went to a wedding.
All right, well let's end it there. That's it for this week. We'll talk a little bit more about the Premier League next week, and we'll see. And I'm excited because in the next couple weeks
we have 2 games now. Because if we do a podcast Monday, we're gonna have to talk about 2 games.
Yep.
So I'm gonna have to remember everything.
All right, we'll see if Georgie's as excited as he was in this episode.
2 games.
We'll see in the next episode. But yeah, we'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you for tuning in this time.
See you guys.